SBR Forum's Punters is brought to you by Bookmaker.
We are previewing college football week 9 here at SBR Forum Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We're talking right now with Doug Upstone from sports-watch.com. And Doug, the second game you want to talk about, Ohio State at Penn State. Penn State is at home. The line is about pick'em. The total is 50. Ohio State, of course, is ranked number 9 at the moment. They're a top 10 team. Penn State, though, they're playing great. Ohio State, undefeated, though. And, Penn State... They started to play great recently. They got a pretty good win over Northwestern, which was at least a little bit impressive, if not super impressive. The question is, can Ohio State get a win on the road? They went into Michigan State. They did win by 1. How good is Michigan State? Their offense is questionable. Then they went into Indiana, which is a pretty bad team, and only won by 3. So I don't really know what you're going to say here. Again, on this game, I'm kind of leaning towards the under 50, maybe. What do you like here?
Well, this is the past transgressions bowl for both of these schools because they're both on probation, are not going to be eligible for any postseason activity. Now, as you know, Ohio State needed every second last week to keep the dream alive for a perfect season. Yeah. And they were really quite fortunate because they were far from perfect against Purdue last week. Now, quarterback Braxton Miller should return for the Buckeyes, but when he's not at his best, Urban Meyer's squad is really quite beatable. How beatable, you ask? In the last 3 games, this overrated Ohio State defense has allowed 421 yards and 36.3 points a game. Now, Purdue, which had no passing offense in its recent games, found open receivers all over the field and threw for 230 yards after registering just 281 passing yards in their previous 2 games, despite trailing early. So Ohio State's defense was pathetic. Now, with the deck stacked against first-year coach Bill O'Brien, he keeps hitting inside straights. Now, O'Brien has instilled a no-excuses attitude from the start when he took the Penn State job, and as the situation further deteriorated when he lost 18 players from the program, he never wavered. Now, O'Brien's strength is in offense, and he has taken Matt McGloin, who last year was one of the worst quarterbacks in the Big Ten, and he's made him the league's best traditional passing quarterback this year. Now, the Nittany Lions, they're all about winning now. They're not worried about the future and what the future is going to hold. And this year, no team has gone on 4th down more often than Penn State. Now, the Nittany Lions defense continues also to get better each week, with opposing teams only scoring 15.7 points per game, which is 37% below their average. Now, why does Penn State win and cover this game? Preparation. The Nittany Lions are the only team in the FBS that has not allowed a first quarter point this season, and they rank 5th overall in the country with a plus 66 scoring margin in the first quarter. Ohio State, by contrast, has been outscored by 5 points in the opening stanza. Now, off their 38-14 thrashing of Iowa as 1.5-point underdogs, Penn State is 9-1 against the spread after beating the spread by 2 or more touchdowns. The boring blue and white uniforms end Ohio State's dream season and win by a touchdown or more.
Wow. Doug, you are awesome. You know what else? You sound a little bit like Casey Kasem, and that is a compliment. That's a big compliment. You know who Casey Kasem is?
I sure do.
Now, I'm going to take Penn State here, but I can't even do it, but you do it. You sound like Casey. That sounds great to me. Yeah, and I guess, and one thing I do like to do is fade a highly ranked team or a top 10 team when there's a line a spread that might not make perfect sense to some people. So yeah, people are going to see all Ohio State has to do is get a win, and I win my bet. They're ranked top 10. I'll take that. I think you're making good sense. I guess I'm just concerned because last week you loved Ohio State. You picked them. They did get affected by the weather, I think, but.
What they got affected by was their defense. I mean, the first play of the game was I believe, an 88-yard touchdown pass, right off the bat. And then they gave up after they came back and scored a touchdown. They gave up a kickoff return, so it sent it set a very negative tone right from the start. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, believe me, talk about disappointment. I was certainly among those last week on Ohio State. But, in looking at their team, looking at recent performances, I'm not going to ignore it. I'm not going to just let it go. And I think Penn State, the way they're playing, I can certainly make the argument right today, Penn State is the best team in the Big Ten.
All right, I agree. And this one goes out to all of Doug Upstone's fans. Take Penn State, pick 'em. Love it. Thanks, Doug.